Having just finished the Resident Evil 3 remake, I can honestly say it is one of the best titles I have played in the last 12 months. And if you haven't played the game yourself, I highly recommend you complete a playthrough. Despite finding mixed reviews all over the internet, you will be hard pushed to be disappointed by one of the best horror franchises of all time. Having never played the original game, which was released back in 1999, I really didn't know what to expect. But needless to say, I didn't regret my decision, and neither will you. The plot is relatively simple, yet true to the Resident Evil franchise, as the story for the third installment begins with Jill Valentine being chased out of her apartment by Nemesis. As the primary antagonist throughout the game, his primary objective is to eliminate STAR's members, as they present a threat to the Umbrella Corporation. The scientists of Umbrella were the brainchild of the T-virus, which broke out into Raccoon City. Nemesis proves troublesome throughout the entire campaign, in various different forms, as Jill travels across the city to find a vaccine. The third game in the series runs alongside the timeline of Resident Evil 2, where characters such as Marvin have a cameo to show how he became infected. As well as Jill, we also get the opportunity to play as Carlos Oliveira. Despite Jill's character being more fleshed out, the early gameplay is also more challenging as you begin to build your arsenal of weapons. Ammunition is scarce, and there are enemies aplenty, therefore forcing you to be more tactical in your placement. But when playing as Carlos, we start with a hard-hitting auto rifle and plenty of bullets. However, the best part of playing as Carlos is revisiting the Raccoon City Police Department. Players of Resident Evil 2 will be very familiar with the environment, which makes maneuvering around the building a familiar yet enjoyable process. Despite being a short campaign, there are still plenty of moments for character building. The meeting and bond between Jill and Carlos is the most significant, but so too is the introduction of Nikolai, who is a former Soviet Union member working as an agent for the Umbrella Corporation. He continues to be a presence until the very end of the game, by working against Jill. Yet it is the unfortunate relationship between Jill and Nemesis which is the main focus, despite being tricked into thinking he has been terminated at the end of a boss fight, on more than one occasion. The variety of weaponry throughout the game makes for interesting gunplay, and as you progress through the story, Jill becomes more formidable and is able to deal with Nemesis more effectively with each encounter. My personal favourite weapon to use in the latter half of the game was the Nighthawk, a handgun which really packs a punch that blows the heads and limbs off of enemies with ease. The use of hand grenades and flash grenades are essential for clearing rooms, as well as dealing with the larger infected. And let's not forget the most badass gun in the entire game, used to rid Nemesis from Raccoon City once and for all. This gigantic laser rifle was totally unexpected, but what a joy it was to use in the few brief moments. That is some serious firepower. The inclusion of puzzles throughout the campaign offers a change in dynamic, and forces the player to pay attention to the notes left throughout the various areas. Additional information also leads to the discovery of extra loot to further help your progress, including bonus weaponry and attachments. By modern day standards, the campaign isn't considered lengthy by any means, although there are opportunities to complete multiple playthroughs with several different approaches. The awarding of new items at the end of the game makes the new game experience fresh and exciting. My first attempt took around 5 hours, by taking time to explore each area and learning different ways to kill the various infected types. There are also 3 different difficulties to choose from, and several achievements which provide additional challenge for the hardcore Resident Evil fan. Let's just say to get the full value from the game, you will need to play it several times, but this is something I will have no problem doing. Several different enemy types made the exploration of each area much more interesting. As expected, the standard zombies are relatively easy to deal with thanks to the slow movement speed. But do not be complacent with those which are sat or lying still, as they too can be a threat. Yet it is the underground section that sparked the biggest surprise. Known as the Gamma Hunter, these grotesque creatures can be dealt with relative ease when armed with a grenade launcher. But before you come to realise this, a handgun and shotgun will do very little damage to the abomination. We also meet the Licker from Resident Evil 2 when playing as Carlos, and a good clip or two from the assault rifle will effectively eliminate the target on lower difficulties. And let's not forget the zombie dogs, a staple in the Resident Evil franchise. You will find these are featured in almost every title, and for obvious reason. They are terrifying. From the off, I was instantly impressed by the stunning visuals and the cutscenes that have been tied in seamlessly with the gameplay. Despite being released only a year later than the Resident Evil 2 remake, there are a number of noticeable refinements, including improved textures and lighting. The mechanics remain consistent with its predecessor, because why change a winning formula? The looting and crafting system is very intuitive and will quickly become second nature when you learn what items pair with each other. I was so very impressed with the game that several more playthroughs are imminent in the future, but it isn't before I complete the remake of Resident Evil 2 first. Time is running out, however, as just around the corner is the release of the Resident Evil 4 remake, and I for one am counting down the days. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and if you want to see more videos like this, consider clicking the subscribe button. Drop a comment down below if you too have played the Resident Evil 3 remake. And if you haven't, make sure you pick up a copy.